येन स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome to the Bhaktyaloka series. We have been discussing the 6 favorable items by which we can get success in pure devotional service. उत्साहान् निश्चयात् धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात् सतो वृत्तेः षड्भिर्भक्तिर्प्रसिद्धति. So in this, yesterday in 2 classes, yesterday and day before, we discussed Nishchay, endeavoring with confidence. And we cannot endeavor with confidence if we have doubts. So one who has complete faith, he is a doubtless person. So that is why we have to study Sambandha Abhidaya Prayojan. And within the Sambandha Abhidaya Prayojan, there are these Dasha Mula Tattva. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur went on to define these Dashamula Tattvas. And later on, after defining these Dashamula Tattvas, he gave scriptural proof for all these Dashamula Tattvas. And by understanding these Dashamula Tattvas, all the doubts are destroyed. And thereby, one can endeavor in devotional service with confidence. So that's how he discussed Nishchaya. So today we are going to see about Dhairya. Dhairya means being patient. Patience means you're not impatient. You're not restless. So Dhairya means basically to be sober. Sober means you have to control your senses. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes back to text 1. Oh, this is text 3, not text 2. Goes back to text 1 of Updekshamrit. So control the urges by which you become patient. Dhairya means to resist the 6 urges, he says. For a practitioner of devotional service, Dhairya, patience is extremely necessary. It's extremely necessary. Those who possess the quality of Dhairya are called Dhira, sober. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Dhiras Tatra Namuyate. One who has controlled his senses can understand this change. uh, Dehinoasmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantar praptir Dhiras tatra muyate. Only a dhir can understand how this change of body happens. Due to lack of this quality, men become restless. Those who are impatient cannot do any work. They just cannot do any work because there's a lot of impatience. By the quality of Dhairya, practitioner controls first himself and then the whole world. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also has written a commentary on each of the verses of Updeshamrit, and which is called as the Piyush Varshini Vritti. Piyush means nectar, Varshini means shower, and Vritti means a commentary. So in that commentary, he gives that the first verse deals with Tridandi Swamir Lakshan. It deals with the symptoms of a Tridandi Swami because Sarvam Apimam Prithvim Shishyat. And he says it also deals with the Atma Sayami Madhyamadikari Lakshan, the symptoms of a self-controlled Madhyamadikari. So by controlling these urges, first one controls himself and then he controls the whole world by his pure devotion. In the first verse of Shri Updeshamrit, the symptoms of Dhairya are explained. This is the verse. Vajo vegam manasa, krodha vegam, jivva vegam, udarapasta vegam, etan veganyo vishet, dhirah sarvamapi mam prithvim sa shishyat. A sober person can tolerate the urge of the speech, urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals. Vacho manasa, vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jibva udarapasta vegam. Actually, vacho is not required here. It is only the urges of mind, urge to speak altogether are yes, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Sarvam api mam prithvim sa shishyat. Prithvim sa shishyat. Okay, now each of them he deals. It's as good as we are once again revisiting verse 1 from a different perspective, from a Dhairya perspective. There are 6 types of urges, namely the urge to speak, mind, anger, belly, tongue, and genitals. With the desire to speak more, a person becomes talkative. If speech is not regulated, then enmity arises from talking about others. So this whole world, somebody makes a statement about someone else, and there is huge clashes happening all over the world. This is one big problem we are facing. Some event happens and somebody makes a comment, and then there is action. Everywhere you can see, just because they are not able to control their tongue. If you just control this tongue, then you'll not have any enemies. If you don't control your tongue, you'll have enemies. Because if you speak about others, you'll naturally have enemies. To speak uselessly is the business of a fool. But out of the desire to unnecessarily engage in speech, the materialist always waste time and face so many distress. So many litigations also can come up. Some criticism you do, and then you end up in a litigation. Pious people observe Maun Vrat or silence in order to get rid of this disturbance. So the pious people observe this Maun Vrat. That is why the rishis have made provisions for observing various vows like Maun Vrat. The practitioners of devotional service should not speak unnecessarily. That means they should speak, they should not follow Maun Vrat. They should speak, but not unnecessarily. If you have to speak unnecessarily, better keep quiet. Better keep quiet. Even devotees have to start applying these principles. Otherwise, in the name of devotional service, so many things we keep on talking. We have to practice at some time during the day that we don't speak unnecessarily and we keep quiet, especially even preachers, because they are always speaking. So sometimes I make a point that when I'm traveling in the train, I just follow Maun Vrata. Maun Vrata means just sit and study and chant and don't speak at all. Besides topics regarding Krishna, all other topics are unnecessary. So this is one principle we should, note down, that any other topic other than Krishna, it is unnecessary. Shrotavyadini Rajendra, Nunam Santi Sahasrasa, Apashyatam Atmatattvam Griheshu Brahmedinam. It's sense gratification, simply. And we might not speak about other topics, but even watching the news over the internet is also speech, unnecessary talk. But to speak about the subjects favorable to devotional service is not unnecessary. Therefore, devotees should speak only on topics about Lord Hari or those favorable to such topics. Okay, now I have summarized this in the form of chart. Controlled speech is negative application, pious people observe. Maun Vrata, neutral. The practitioners of devotional service should not speak unnecessarily, better to keep quiet. And positive Krishna conscious application is devotees should speak only the topics about the Lord. That's how Bhaktivinoda Thakur presents it. There's a negative application, there's a neutral Krishna conscious application, and there is a positive Krishna consciousness. Either you be in the first gear or the second gear or the third gear or the fourth gear, or be in neutral, but don't put the reverse gear. Then you will, instead of making progress, you'll go in the different direction. Okay. All other topics will be counted in the category of the urge to speak. All other topics. One who is able to control the urge to speak is a sober person, dhira. So that's how Prabhupada deals, Bhaktivinoda Thakur deals with the urge to speak. Now, any questions you have on this? Any questions, any clarifications? Yeah. Any clarifications? Okay, so now then let's take months. Very straightforward and very simple, very clear instructions. It is a duty of a sober person to tolerate the urge of mind until one is habituated to control the urge of the mind, how one can perform devotional service with attention. If you have not controlled your mind, you cannot perform devotional service with attention. A materialist sits on the chariot of the mind and never gets relief from its various urges except during sleep. Dhavato. Dhavato means he's riding. In this verse, Prahlad Maharaj, Yasyasti Bhagavati Bhakti Rakinchana, Sarves Satra Guna, Samasate Sura. Harava Abhaktasya Kuto Mahat Guna, Dhavato he's riding on the chariot of the mind. So, when you're riding on the chariot of the mind, you'll never get relief because all these urges are pulling you here, all directions. So only get relief during sleep. But again, in sleep also you'll not get relief. Even during sleep, many thoughts such as good and bad dreams come. In order to regulate the urge of the mind, rishis have propounded Ashtanga Yoga and Raj Yoga. So this is how to control the mind by performing Ashtanga Yoga or Raj Yoga. But the Lord's prescription is that one should regulate the mind from the inferior taste by giving it a higher taste. Where does Krishna speak about this in the Gita? Anyone knows? Where does Krishna speak about this in the Gita? Giving up the inferior taste by accepting the superior taste. Anyone? Priya Mataji. Where does Krishna speak about it? Which verse of the Bhagavad Gita? Anyone knows? It's a very famous verse. It is there in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. I have given you enough hint. Jagadishwar Prabhuji, yes.
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य
Yeah.
रसवर्ज्यं रसोप्यस्य परम
विषया
दृष्ट्वा
विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसो वर्जम रसोपि अस्य param दृष्ट्वा. Raso varjam is able to give up these superior treasures. Rasopi asya, and he is able to experience the superior taste because param drishtva. Param means superior, experiencing something higher. He is able to nivartate, he is able to cease. So this is what even Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. Those who are on the path of devotion can easily regulate the mind. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying easily, and we all know how difficult it is. The mind cannot remain without urges. Now, this is how Bhaktivinoda Thakur is. There is the urge. There is intense greed for, having nice items. To dovetail that greed to taste superior things in the form of Krishna Katha, Sadhu Sangha. So that's how you dovetail these urges. If urge towards spiritual subjects, the mind is properly engaged and it will not hanker for insignificant subjects. You have calm, desire to enjoy, then that same desire you dovetail to give enjoyment to Krishna. Then the mind is more pacified. Many people think that without Ashtanga Yoga, there is no alternative to regulate the mind. So this is also misconception sometimes devotees might have. But Patanjali Muni has accepted that just as Ashtanga Yoga regulates the mind, Bhakti Yoga can also. Patanjali Muni has accepted it. I don't know where exactly this comes. We'll have to find out. And I'll also find out from someone where he has spoken about this. Meditation on the Supreme Lord, as propounded by Patanjali, is not pure devotional service. Rather, it is Sakama Bhakti or motivated. Now, here he brings out the difference between Shuddha Bhakti and Mishra Bhakti. If devotional service is performed for the purpose of regulating the mind, then it is certainly not devoid of material desires. Because there is a desire to regulate the mind. It is not the desire to please Krishna. Favorable cultivation of devotional service in relationship to Krishna is the real meaning of pure bhakti. So this is to control the mind. But pure devotional service means you do it for the pleasure of Krishna. Automatically the mind is controlled. Therefore, whenever pure devotional service is performed, joyfulness of the mind automatically arises from amongst extraneous efforts, fruits. So we try to work on pure devotional service. And moment we achieve pure devotional service, automatically joyfulness of the mind will happen. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangasya jayate. Srimad Bhagavatam states, Tasmat kenapi upayena mana Krishna niveshayet. Some other, one must consider the form of Krishna very seriously. Some others, one has to connect the mind to the form of Krishna. If one follows this instruction, then the mind will be engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna and it will not easily wander into other subjects. For the practitioner, the urge of the mind is regulated by pure cultivation of favorable devotional service in relationship to Krishna. So this is the remedy. First is pure cultivation. Then next is in a favorable way, anukulena. And then Krishna Anushilam in relation to Krishna. So in one sense, he is giving the definition of pure devotional service. By carefully meditating on this subject, one can know the inherent differences between yoga and bhakti. You have to carefully meditate and deliberate what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. Because yoga is Mishra Bhakti, whereas Shuddha Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti. Now, Krodha Vegam, the urge of the anger. Any questions you have on the urges of the mind? Any questions, any clarifications? Okay, so let's take now the urges of the mind. Sorry, urge of the anger. To restrain the urge of anger is compulsory for those who are thirsty for devotional service. It's compulsory. Restraint is compulsory, Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying. Anger arises when a man's lust is unfulfilled. Where does in the Bhagavad Gita this is mentioned? Priya Mataji, yes.
2.62 and 63. ध्यायते विषयान् पुंसा संगस्ते उपजायते संजाय संजायते कामा काम क्रोधे अभिजायते.
Kamat krodha. Kama is not fulfilled, there is krodha. When one is angry, the result gradually leads one to ruination. So this is how anger is. It is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataeva Shant. Because a devotee of the Lord Krishna is desireless, he is peaceful. No insignificant lust can remain in the heart of one who relishes pure devotional service. So until we come to the pure devotional service, then there are insignificant desires in the form of lust. Therefore, there is no possibility of anger arising in the mind. Anger arises in the mind, we have to remember. Those whose devotional service is motivated cannot conquer anger. So here again, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is fixing on trying to come to the standard of practice of pure devotional service. It is not possible to conquer anger by intelligence alone. In a very short time, attachment for sense enjoyment overcomes the function of the intelligence and gives anger a place in its kingdom. The mind for some time can regulate the mind, the intelligence can regulate the mind and the senses. But the senses, which are lusty and want to enjoy, they overpower the mind and the mind overpowers the intelligence, and that's why it will not work for a long time. It is seen in the song of Avanti Brahman from the Srimad Bhagavatam 11:23, 33 to 35, 37 and 40 that he was able to quickly control anger. Okay, he quotes now, Tam vai pravasam vikshum avadutam asajjana drishtva paryabhavan badra bhavibhi paribhutibhi. O King Uddhava, Bhadra, seeing him indeed, Društva Tamvai, as an old, pravayasam, 30 beggar, bhikshup avadun, rowdy persons, asajjana, would dishonor him, paryabhavan, him with many insults, bhaubi paribhutibi. So they used to dishonor him with many insults. Kechitri venum jaggruhar, eke patram kamandalam, पीठम चैक अक्षसूत्रम च कंठाम चिरानि केचन प्रधाय च पुनस्तानि धर्षितानि आददुर मुने. Some of the persons, Kechit, would take away his sannyas rod, Trivenum Chagrur, and some the water pot which was using as a begging bowl, Eke Patram Kamandalum. Some took his deerskin seat, Pitham Chaika, some his chanting beads, Akshasutram Cha, Akshasutram, and some would steal his torn ragged clothing. Kantham Chirani, Chirani means the clothing, Kechana. Displaying these things before him, Darshitani, they would pretend to offer them back, Pradhayacha, but would then hide them again. Punastani Adadur Mune. So this is how they used to do. Annam cha bhaiksham sampannam punjanasya saritate mutranti cha papishta sivanti asya murdhani. When he was sitting on the bank of the river Saritate, about to partake bhunjanasya of the food that he had collected by begging, annam cha bhaiksham sampanna. such sinful rascals would come and pass urine on it. Mutrayanti cha papishta. My goodness, so heavy. So one should study the Avanti Brahman Geet, and sometimes we are hurled with insults, or we are ridiculed while taking prasad. We should all tolerate that. They would dare to spit on his head. Tivanti asya murdhani. Shipanti ek vajananta. Esha dharma dvaja shatya. Sheena vitta imam vritti. Agrahitsva janojita. They would criticize and insult him. Shipanti eva avajananta, saying, this man is just a hypocrite and a cheat. Esha dharma dvaja shatya. He makes a business of religion simply because he has lost all his wealth. Sheena vitti imam vrittim. So because he was a businessman before and he was very, very stingy. And his family threw him out. Agrahit swa janojita. Ujjita means they have thrown. Swajana. So this is what they used to say. And this Avanti Brahman, he just deliberated, this all is because of my past prarabdha. Dukkeshu vignamana, sukeshu vigatasura, vita raga bhaya krodha, sitadir muni ruchyate. Evam sa bhautikam dukkham, daivikam dehikam chayat, bhoktavyam atmanodishtim, praptam abuddhayat. The Brahman, evam sa, understood abuddhata, that all his suffering, dukkham bhoktavyam, from other living beings, autikam, adi bhautik klesh, from the higher forces of nature, daivikam dehikam chayat, are from his own body, atmano, was unavoidable, being allotted to him by providence. Dishtam praptam. So the problem for us as sadhakas is that we don't accept what has come as a klesha because of Adi Bhautik or Adi Devik, and we try to resist and go against it. Just accept it and tolerate it is a sign of dhira. And we don't, and we try to adjust and make so many things. And then, there is, inner klesh, the Vegas of the mind trouble us. That Avanti mendicant then spoke the following verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is very famous. Mahaprabhu, before taking sannyas, spoke these verses. And those who are aspiring to take sannyas, this is the mantra which is to be chanted. Etam sa asthaya paramat nishtam adhyasitam purvatmer maharshibhi aham tarishyami durantaparam tamo mukundangri nisevaye. I shall cross over aham tarishyami, the insurmountable ocean of Nisayan, durantaparam tama, by being firmly fixed, etam ta astaya, in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna, mukundangri nisevaye. This was approved by the previous acharyas. Adhyasitam purva atmer maharshibi, who have fixed in firm devotion to the Lord, Paramatma, the Supreme Personality. Astaya Paramat Nishtam. This Paratma Nishta, being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna, is sometimes followed by householders like Janaka and sometimes by sannyasis like Sanaka and Sanatana. In both circumstances, the Paratma Nishta is the same. Without this Paratma Nishta, one cannot cross the insurmountable ocean of nescience. So this is also that stage of Nishta. Esham tu antagatam papam janana punya karmanam te dvanda boham nirmukta bhajante himam drida vrata. Or nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridavrata namasyante tu mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Service to Lord Mukund is the only shelter. One will be delivered by accepting that. We can clearly see from this song of the Avanti Brahman that it is impossible to cross the material ocean by the process of yoga. By unflinching devotion to Krishna, everything is achieved. One who can control the urges of speech, mind, and anger by devotional service is called Dhairya. So that's how he speaks about Dhairya. So, any questions on the urge of anger? Urge of anger. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. This is quite a simple, very clear, straightforward instructions. Now the Jiva Vegam. It is everyone's duty to subdue the urge of the tongue. Materialistic persons are always busy trying to enjoy the 6 kinds of tastes by chewing, sucking, and so on. Today I will enjoy spiced rice with non-veg. Today I will endeavor for khitri. Today I will enjoy the finest drinks. Hankering like this, the materialist always wanders. The more the tongue eats, the more its hankering increases. Don't feel that, by giving more the tongue will get pacified. It will increase. Those who want to wander for the pleasure of the tongue, attaining Krishna is very difficult. Jivvara lalsa iti uti dhaye, shishnodara parayana Krishna nahi paye. Okay, he quotes this. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vairagyahan kare jivvara lalsa, paramartayaya arahoye rasera Vairagya kritya sada nama sankirtan, Shakapatra phala mule udara bharan, Jivar lalsai uti uti dhai, Krishnodara parayana Krishnai pai. If a renunciate is eager for his tongue to taste different foods, his spiritual life will be lost and he will be subservient to the tastes of his tongue. The duty of a person in the renounced order is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra always, Sadanama Sankirtan. He should satisfy his belly with whatever vegetables, leaves, fruits, and roots are available. One who is subservient to the tongue and who thus goes here and there, iti uti dhai, devoted to the genitals and belly, Shishnodara Parayan. He is not Narayan Parayan, he is Shishnodar. Shishna means, genitals, Udara means stomach. He is Shishnodara Parayan, not Narayan Parayan. Krishna nahi paye, cannot attain Krishna. So very brief. Now the Udara Vegam, the urge of the belly. Any questions? Okay. One should fill his belly with whatever is easily available by offering Krishna foods in the mode of goodness and honoring them as prasad. The tongue is satisfied and service to Krishna is cultivated. So, what is your reflection on the statement of Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Especially this statement, by offering Krishna foods in the mode of goodness and honoring them as prasad, the tongue is satisfied and service to Krishna is cultivated. Anyone would like to share his thoughts on the statement? What it also otherwise means? Anyone? Chakra Ram Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna. Having simple food
Pardon?
gives time. Eating simple food without not tasty food, simple food, and keeping it, and that helps the person to devote time on his devotional practices. And
Yes.
with the given time on devotional practices, I met a saint once in my lifetime. He had developed such an intuition. He had predicted my future without even looking at my horoscope. He had helped me a lot. So that he had developed himself that he can he can read the person or he can see the future. He has to have
We want to
he has
stick,
only 1 or 2 utensils only.
Hare Krishna
He was
Prabhuji,
eating simple food.
we want to just stick to this one statement and not
Yes,
go.
having simple food and giving time to devotional practices,
Ah,
has helped him to develop. I
yes,
met the person like that.
yes. Okay. Any others? What also uh, can you reflect on the statement? Anyone else also? Jagdish or Prabhuji? You would like to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad. Yes, please, Prabhuji, just I could not get that.
See, here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying by offering Krishna in the mode of goodness and honoring them as prasad, the tongue is satisfied and service to Krishna is cultivated.
Mhm.
So, what is your reflection on this? What can be also, uh, uh, you know, what is your reflection on this statement? What is your reflection on this statement? Oh, a lot of distraction in the background.
Yes, please,
People are
please.
offering Krishna foods in the mode of passion and honoring them as prasad. The tongue will not be satisfied and service to Krishna will not be cultivated. So it's so important that we offer foods in the mode of goodness. Otherwise, it is very difficult. And this is a great challenge now, which we have to face. We have to, offer foods in the mode of goodness. If palatable prasad is easily available, then the tongue's greed will gradually be controlled rather than increased. Is easily available, not that you run for it. Then you will come under the control of the urges of the tongue. The urge of the belly is a disturbance. The requirement of the stomach is to eat for the maintenance of the life and mitigation of hunger, not for the taste. Those who are thirsty for devotional service should maintain their life by moderate eating. 50% food, 25% space for water, 25% for air. That is according to Ayurveda principle. And then, you can, you can have the exact amount of energy which is required for you to do service. Now, moment you get a burp, that means the signal is that enough of food. So you should stop there. The second one comes, then it is a bigger signal. Third one comes, then you need to stop. But then you overeat, then it will cause trouble. There is no space for water and air. And then the digestion doesn't happen. And then all stomach troubles summon. And there's disturbance in the body. Then the body is not suitable for performing service to Krishna. And you fall sick or you lie down. In fact, how one should know that he has eaten 50% quantity of his belly is that moment he gets up, he should feel that he has not had. Or while getting up, he feels, oh, heaviness in the stomach because he has overeaten. That means he has overeaten. So this is the art. Mita bhuk, it is said. Those who are thirsty for devotional service maintain their life by moderate eating. Okay, this is same statement has come here. I'll have to delete this. Those who endeavor to overeat are called gluttons. One of the qualities of the devotees is mitabuk, eating what is necessary. I mentioned this. Where is this mitabuk mentioned? Anyone knows? Where is mitabuk mentioned? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Where is mitabuk mentioned? Yes, Jagadishwar Prabhuji.
26 qualities of Vaishnavas.
26 qualities of Vaishnavas. Okay. Yes, that's true. Also in the Bhagavad Gita it is there. Anywhere?
I don't remember.
Yeah. The book is there also. It is there in the 18th chapter. It is not exactly the term Mita book, but it is Lagu Asi. Vivikt Sevi, Lagu Asi. And let us see. Lagu Asi, eating in small quantity. So, of course, this is the qualities of a Gyani, but it is also applicable to a Bhakta. Okay. Those who have no strength to tolerate the urge of the stomach are always greedy to eat. Those who are firmly convinced that nothing can be eaten besides Krishna Prasad are especially able to tolerate the urge of belly. Now, again, this is a standard. If we don't come to the standard in practice of Krishna consciousness, we are not going to make advancement. And today, because of so many yatras, so many traveling, to practice the standard not to eat anything which is not prepared by ourselves and not offered to Krishna is a real challenge. And one has to work on this over a period of time. Otherwise, we will not be able to control the urge of the belly. Even snack items, nowadays, if you buy packets which are ready-made, it's not acceptable. You cook your home snacks, Sattvic, again in the Sattvic category, not in the Rajasic category, and have them. Like I, while traveling, make a point to carry some makhana, which is very Sattvic and which is very fulfilling. So, and it is offered. So that is helpful to tolerate the urge of the belly. Restrictions like fasting and prescribed diets are also models for instruction for controlling the urge of the stomach. This is also Prabhupada recommends. If one can fast on Janmashtami and all that, he says then you can control the urge of the stomach. Upastavegam, the urge of the genitals. The urge of the genitals is formidable for persons who are averse to the Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Loke Vyavasai Vyavas Vyavayamshi Madhya Seva Nitya Hi Jantur Na Hi Tatra Chodana. In the material world, the conditioned soul is always inclined to sex, meat eating, and intoxication. Therefore, religious scriptures never actually encourage such activities. So the conditioned soul has been, in different species, having sex, eating meat, especially you can see many animals eat meat, and intoxication. They like intoxications. And that's why in the human form, this tendency is very, very strong. Of course, in other species, you cannot do gambling. In the human life, you can do gambling, and that's one of the regulative principles. So birth after birth, in many species, we have been, addicted to eating meat and having sex. The purport of this statement from the Srimad Bhagavatam is confidential. Those who possess a material body made of flesh and blood are always inclined to associate with women. To minimize this inclination, the marriage ceremony is recommended. Those who wish to get free from the codes of marriage are almost like animals. They don't want to follow the Viva Samskar and associate with a body made of another flesh and blood. And that is what? That is animal life. But those who have crossed beyond the rules of this natural inclination by the association of devotees and by strength of their service, and have thus attained attraction for spiritual subject matter, for them associating with the opposite sex is very insignificant. Persons who are filled with attachment for material enjoyment can never tolerate the urge of the genitals. Many of them engage in illicit activities. Regarding this propensity, those who thirst for devotional service are divided into two groups. So he divides them into two groups. Those whose attraction has been purified by the strength of sadhu sang give up the association of women altogether and continually engage in devotional service. Persons in this group are known as renounced Vaishnavas. Those whose propensity for associating with women has not been destroyed except the codes of marriage and remain as householders while engaging in devotional service. So he's speaking about the grahasthas and the yatis, the sannyasis. Associating with women as prescribed in the scriptures means to control the urge of genitals. So the urge of genitals is those who have transcendent sex inclination and those who are attached to sex. Okay. To subdue these 6 urges is called Dhairya. So that's now Bhaktivinoda Thakur coming to the end. One who properly tolerates the above mentioned 6 urges, that is favorable for his devotional service. And when those urges are strong, that is unfavorable for one's devotional service. To subdue these 6 urges is called Dhairya. As long as one has a material body, these propensities cannot be totally uprooted, but by properly engaging them in their appropriate subjects, they no longer remain faulty. And then he quotes this famous verse I was also mentioning in the beginning. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur has written in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika as follows. Kama Krodha Lobha Moha Mada Matsarya Dambasah Sthane Sthane Niyukta Karibe Anand Kari Hridaya Ripu Kari Parajaya Anayasa Govinda Bhajiba Kama Krishna Karmarpane Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane Lobha Sadhu Sangha Hari Kata Moha Ishtalabha Vine Mada Krishna Gunagane Niyukta Karibe Yatha Tata. I will engage lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, envy, and pride in appropriate ways. By defeating these enemies, I will feel happiness in my heart as I peacefully worship Govinda. I will engage lust by offering it in Krishna's service. Anger I will direct towards those who are envious of the devotees. I will be greedy to hear the topics of Hari in the association of devotees. I will feel illusion without achieving my worshipable Lord. Like when I'm in the streets, I have not had darshan and I'm here wandering in the street. Just by meditating like that, you will not fall in illusion. I'll be maddened while singing the glories of Krishna. In this way, I will engage these enemies in the proper place. Of course, he speaks about engaging lust, anger, greed, illusion, and of course, madness is same as greed. There is pride and envy. Envy cannot be engaged in Krishna's service. Envy one has to uproot. The confidential meaning of this song is that the duty of an intelligent person is to direct these urges away from their respective subjects and make them favorable to devotional service. That can only be done with patience. Dhairya also means patience. There is another meaning applicable to the word Dhairya. Those who engage in sadhana desire to attain the results. Karmis hope to attain heavenly happiness by fruity activities. Jnanis hope to attain liberation by speculative knowledge. And devotees hope to please Krishna by their devotion. Being impatient due to prolonged sadhana, some people fall from the path of the ultimate goal. Therefore, a practicing devotee who desires to achieve his goal attains that result only when he becomes patient. So, devotees after 10 years, 15 years of sadhana, they start becoming restless because of not getting the results. So that is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is now addressing. Krishna must be merciful to me either today or after 100 years or in some birth. I will take shelter of his lotus feet with determination and never leave. This type of dhairya patience is most desired for the practitioners of devotional service. So that's how Bhaktivinoda Thakur said this should be our meditation and we should not become impatient. And the classic example of this is Mukunda. In the Mahaprakash Leela, Mahaprabhu, you're not called Mukunda. Don't take his name. I will never see him. He will never get the mercy. And he will attain me only after 10 million births, he said. And when this news was given to Mukunda, he started jumping with enthusiasm. At least I will attain the mercy of the Lord at least after 10 million births. So then seeing that enthusiasm, Mahaprabhu called him. So we should have that patience that not at least this life, at least next life, that is sign of Dhairya. Okay, so we end this topic on Dhairya. It's quite Simple. Dhira means to control the senses. And then Rupa Goswami's Vacho Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam. Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes this verse. And then for each of them, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving very, very practical, simple instructions. Please read this article and repeatedly try to apply it in your life. And then slowly you can see the results. So any questions, any clarifications you have? Okay, so we have finished Dhairya. So another 3 articles. Tomorrow we will take up Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat. Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat is quite exhaustive. It's quite in detail. We'll require 2 classes for that. And then Sangha Tyaga and then Shatovriti. So maybe another 5 classes we will complete this discussion. Thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna. Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Hari Hari.